What's up, y'all? It is Tasha. I am back with another video. Thank you so much for stopping into my channel. Please do not forget to like, comment, hit that subscribe button if you are not already subscribed to the channel. So we are back with another review of Put a Ring on It. Season 3 is episode 2, child. And I think this episode, as episode 1 showed us, we have the question of why do any of these couples actually want to marry each other? Like, red flags are just all over the place in every single relationship. Like, what are we doing here, people? What are we doing here? So this episode, so if y'all remember, of course, last week the women went on dates and we basically saw all of their men act completely like children, especially Otis. So this episode picks back up where the last one left off, where Shay was walking off because Alonzo was basically making a joke of her not really being involved in his side of the family. So she's in the bathroom. She's trying to give herself a little pep talk of, you know, girl, get it together, stop crying, think happy thoughts. And the whole time, this man never goes into the bathroom to try to console her, check on her, like nothing. He just sits there as if he has no concern. So Dr. Nicole asks, you know, how he felt as, you know, she walked off, and he basically sits there and gives out a little chuckle and says it's a situation he has tried to fix, but it's nothing he can do about it. And then in his confessional, he basically kind of says that, you know, that's kind of our personal business. I didn't really expect her to air our dirty laundry out like that. And it's like, well, did you expect this not to come up when it is a huge roadblock in y'all's relationship? Do you know what this show is about, sir? Like, the nonchalantness about it, like, I just cannot, because this is a big deal. And he just continued to like brush it off like, so what? My mama and my baby mama are best friends, and my mama don't like my girlfriend of 3.5 years. No big deal. Who cares? It's no big deal. So Dr. Nicole tells him the goal is to really see the other person, so they don't lose for you to win. And yes, Dr. Nicole. So we then go to Charlana and Otis, and she recaps her date with Meta. You know, they went to go play soccer. She tells Dr. Nicole that Otis snatched the flowers that she came home with and threw them in the trash. And he says she should have known better. And I said, she should have known better? She should have known better. Oh, gosh. She then tells Dr. Nicole that, you know, he told her to go take a shower. And Dr. Nicole was like, well, what were you trying to get across? And here comes old Lion Otis and says, you know, because she was out, you know, exercising and playing soccer, I felt like she just needed to take a shower. Otis, quit playing, because even Ray Charles could see the context of you telling her that had nothing to do with her out playing soccer and exercising and potentially sweating. It had everything to do with you feeling like she was dirty because she was on a date with another man that was not you. Like, stop playing these childish games. Dr. Nicole tells him straight up that he felt insecure and he was really seeking to establish dominance with his shower comment, implying that she was dirty and that she needed to fix it. And he was like, nah. And we're like, yeah. You're completely lying. And Dr. Nicole has basically seen straight through you, and she is saying nothing but facts. So Dr. Nicole tells, of course, all the couples that they'll be disappointed if they try to continue to, you know, basically be the puppeteer with their partner throughout this entire process. We then recap Shorty's date with Hollywood. She says they really talked about everything and went really deep with their conversations. Shorty says that the lack of communication between her and Kenneth really isn't on her end, but maybe she has been forcing Kenneth to be someone that he is not. And I think that is a really, really good observation of some people just don't open up. And if that is something that you truly value in your relationship, is really deep conversation, you have to have somebody that matches that rather than wanting to have your partner conform to the person that you need. He says it makes him feel like he has nothing for her. But again, I don't think she's saying that. She's just, you know, saying, you know, you are offering something, but what you're offering is still not meeting my expectation, which again is not a problem. You just got to let it go and find somebody that does. I don't necessarily, again, think that he needs to change to fit who she wants him to be. They just don't need to be together. She then tells us that he threw the necklace that, remember, Hollywood bought her necklace. He threw the necklace over the balcony and then locked himself in a room for hours with her phone to go through her phone. Again, red flags all over the place. And I was just like, what? So you really unlocked your phone and turned your phone over to your boyfriend for him to lock himself in a room to look through your phone for hours. That's what we do in here. As grown people, that's what we are doing here. He said for a second he lost his self-confidence in her and then got really overwhelmed. And I just don't understand, again, why these women continue to give these men so much control over their life when it's like you are a boyfriend. Like, even if you were a husband, I have nothing to hide. But something about that, you taking my phone and want to sit in a locked room for hours, just makes me feel like you want to have control. And I don't like that. Okay. So now the ladies have to decide if they want a second date or move on to someone different. Charlana says she would not like a second date with Meta, and I agree because I don't feel like they really had a real connection. Shay says she will not be going on another date with Brian because there are just certain things she liked physically. So that's mainly the reason, because she said she liked the conversation, it's family values, all that good stuff. But it was just the physical. So I guess she liked big, dark, bald head, Rick Ross looking type dudes. That's all I can gather, because I thought they truly had a connection. And I'm like, Shay, maybe you need to try something different, because baby, what you got ain't working. Okay. Shorty said that Kenneth isn't going to be happy either way if she chooses to go on a second date with Hollywood or if she chooses to go with, someone new. So she's just going to do what she feels is best for her. And she would like to go on a second date with Hollywood. But Kenneth says he is solid on his end because he knows what he brings to the table. And really, these first few dates with somebody is just smoke and mirrors. So you really have to see what somebody has to offer once you're with them for a while. So now it is the guy's turn to go on a date, and Charlana is nervous because of what Otis said. Remember when they were having the whole discussion when she came back last week, he was like, remember, I have a date coming up too. So because she is unsure of what he is going to do, it makes her a little bit nervous, because although we know she didn't do anything disrespectful in Otis' little wart mind, he thinks that she has, so therefore it's going to influence his behavior on his date. So Dr. Nicole really tells them to remember why they are here and sends them off on their dates. Kenneth asks if Shorty wants to get more courting with Hollywood, and she's like, it's not about the courting, it's just about the positive vibes. And he's like, well, I don't give you positive vibes. And she's like, yeah, not right now. Our relationship has not been solid lately, and that is a problem. Kenneth then gives her phone back as they are in the car, and she starts to go back through her phone to kind of see what he might have done. And it was in this moment I realized, so he took your phone. I'm assuming this conversation with Dr. Nicole was the day after. So he took your phone, locked himself in the bathroom or whatever room, went through your phone, and he's basically has held your phone hostage up until this point. Is that what we're saying? Y'all, I cannot. So she starts to look through her phone and she's like, really? This is what we doing? Really? And then she tells us in her confessional that he sent some of her financial information that has nothing to do with him to himself from her phone. So she asks him to delete it. He says he doesn't have anything on his phone, and then is like, we'll talk about it later. And she's just getting really pissed. And basically he parks the car and he just walks out. And I'm just like, again, the disrespect for someone that y'all are not even married to. Like, you have nothing but space and opportunity to walk away from this toxic relationship, and y'all are sitting here essentially begging to get engaged. Like, I don't understand it. So they get home, they're getting ready for bed, and she says this is basically the worst argument that they have ever had. She says, seeing the pictures really pissed her off to the next level. And he said, that wasn't cool on my end. He says when he gets upset, he just really starts to act immature, and he wishes he could really control that part of himself. She even lets us know that he went to her job's social media page to spam their page with a bunch of comments about her. And I'm like, so not only is he insecure and disrespectful towards you, he could potentially put your job in jeopardy because of his childish behaviors. And you still are on this show trying to see if y'all should get married. Child, please don't ever let me be so engulfed in a man that I am this stupid. I just cannot. So he apologizes and say he doesn't want to hurt her and he has some underlying issues he needs to check. He needs to get in check. He isn't in denial about this and he knows it. He knows what he needs to do. And I'm like, but sir, you are in denial about it if you know what needs to be done, but yet you're not doing anything to do something about this. Like, you don't need to be looking for another relationship. You don't need to be getting engaged in nobody. You need to be going to therapy. That's first ticket to therapy, Kenneth, because this right here, this is toxic. She says that she sees some changes and she sees the effort, but she's just afraid, of course, with every step forward that they make, there's some steps backwards too. And I'm like, girl, y'all making like 50 steps backwards for every one step forward. Leave this man. So back over to Otis and Charlana. He says he's nervous for his first date and hope it doesn't go too well because his last first date was with Charlana and now he's been with her for 3 years. His date, Cherie, shows up and she is beautiful. She says, you know, if the vibe is right, she can get very flirtatious. And again, Charlana is concerned if he will break the boundaries they have established with each other because she said that he is petty. Alfonso gets ready for his date and he's, you know, getting all his swag together with, his nice shirt, pulling out all his jewelry, his bracelets and chains and everything. And he's like, you know, I'm just showing the woman what she gets. And I'm like, Alfonso, you're not even cute. Like, even all this jewelry does not make you good looking to me. And I'm just like, okay. I just don't know what Shay sees in him, but all right. But he says he really wasn't expecting Shay to get so emotional during the recap with Dr. Nicole, and he isn't sure why they are still in this situation they are with his family. He basically continues to laugh and joke about this whole situation, and he's like, I've done everything I can do. Like, at this point, you know, you need to talk to my mama. Sir, it is your mama, and something is still going on with you and this baby mama, because there is no way that the relationship should still be this solid between your mama and your baby mama and her acting like this towards the woman you have decided to share your life with. Like, and that is not Shay's job to go talk to your mama. That is your mama, sir. So Alfonso date shows up and her name is Chantel and she comes in. She got a little collar shirt on, buttons all the way unbuttoned, just tied in the front. So Shay is like, you know, can you button that up? I got a couple safety pins. I can, you know, fix you right on up. But they walk out to the car and Shay is acting a little crazy, if I may say so myself. You know, she follows them out to the car. She's looking at the girl's arm on the armrest and she's like, you on my side of the car? Like, I'm gonna need you to move your arm. She's tapping on the window. She's opening the doors. And I'm like, Shay, you knew what this was gonna be, honey. Pipe down. Pipe down. And I don't really think you gotta worry about Alfonso cheating with his dates because he's probably already cheating on you with multiple other women, including his baby mama. Somebody had to say it. But she's just, you know, she's giving real insecure, and I don't put all the fault on her because he hasn't really made her feel secure in this relationship. So, of course, she's going to feel some type of way. So Chantel and Alfonso really, once they get to their date, they talk about, you know, if they each other has kids. She shares that she has, I believe, 2 kids. He tells us that he has 3 children and his oldest daughter is 20 years old. And I was like, I was completely shocked. I'm like, how old is Alfonso? I could have sworn Alfonso was in, I thought, early 30s, but maybe not. Maybe they didn't tell us and I'm just making that up. But if y'all know how old he is, drop it down in the comments. Because I was like, wow, a 20-year-old? Okay. But he talks about the family issues that basically he has with Shay and the trust issues she has because of his job. And his job entails him to be around a lot of women. She says, so she wouldn't like it, you know, or that means I couldn't touch you like this. And she kind of strokes his beard. And he's like, no, I don't think she would like that. And I'm like, Chantel, stop being extra. Like, you being, cut it out, man. She says she wants to date him and, you know, he's like, well, you know, I kind of got what I want in you as far as what I was looking for. And then, you know, he puts his shades on, trying to give some swagger, I guess, calls her babe. And, you know, they get up to walk out the restaurant. And I'm like, you pushing buttons, because before y'all left the house and you tried to, you know, call this girl baby, bae, sweetie, whatever it was. And Shay had already told you, like, her name is Chantel, and I'm gonna need you to at least try to respect that boundary that she has established with you, sir. So Otis and Sheree go on their date, which is basically them making some cakes. He says that, she's dressed well and she's a beautiful woman, which, means a lot on the first date. But, on the first date, I want you to show a little bit more skin. I'm like, Otis, ain't nobody checking for you. Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. So Sheree says she's been dating casually and she's really looking for a man that can lead her and a man that she can be there for, and vice versa. Otis says he finds her maturity and knowing exactly what she wants to be very attractive, and I'm like, too bad you are too immature for any woman at this point. He said, they had fun and the attraction is there, so he has some thinking to do to determine if he really wants a second date with her. We then see Shamaya, who is Kenneth's date. She shows up to pick him up. She is dressed like she's about to go to the gym, and he's dressed like he's about to go work at a call center. So I'm like, where's the date going? I'm not completely sure. So Shorty doesn't seem to be too bothered, and Kenneth says, Shamaya seems cool, but he doesn't think he can really focus on the date because of course, the whole argument that went down with him and Shorty. His mind is just completely somewhere else. But they end up going to a glass blowing class. And he really continues to feel uncomfortable because he knows things are not happy at home with Shorty. And right now he feels like that kind of instead of being on a date, he should be spending that time with Shorty to really make things right and putting that energy into her. So they sit and talk, and their date overall is extremely boring because of the mood that Kenneth is in. And I just don't really see him really contributing much to this date. She's trying to, ask him questions and have conversation. But again, it's really not going much of anywhere because of the mood that he is in. But, he says that, they had a nice date and he enjoys himself. But he does say that him and Shorty each deserve to be loved, even if that means him and Shorty won't be with each other. And I think that's really where y'all need to go with this. So Otis comes back home from his date with the cake he made. He says that Sheree asks, what he likes, and he's like, I told her, some basic stuff like loyalty. And then his girlfriend, Charlana, is kind of asking, well, did y'all hug or whatever? And he says, I gave her a little side hug. And he was like, it's kind of because I felt like you kind of crossed the boundaries that we had already established first. So he felt like it was kind of cool to go ahead and hug her, again, being the petty Otis that he is. And then he starts to say, well, I don't really think we need these boundaries anyway, because I'm pretty much going to move the way I want to move when I'm going on these dates. And I really kind of don't need no boundaries, saying as though he knows how to conduct himself. And Charlana says, well, I'm not agreeing to removing the boundaries. So he's like, all right, I guess we can keep the boundaries, which, means he's still going to do whatever the hell he wants to do on these dates. So they head into the group session for the weekend. Shay says, she has to talk to Dr. Nicole because if Alfonso goes on another date, she's going to have a problem. And I'm like, what is so great about this man that she's just like, maybe the way he provides for her really overshadows everything else in her mind, because the treatment that I see him giving her, no bueno. I ain't, no ma'am. So they start with Alfonso, and he says, the date was nice. They had good conversation. Alfonso tells Dr. Nicole, how Shay answered the door to let his date in and all the drama she had, about wanting the girl to cover up, tapping on the car window, following them outside, all of this nonsense. Dr. Nicole asks what was really driving her behavior. She said it's because, Alfonso was just so happy to go on a date with a woman that he doesn't know. And I'm just like, and you expected him not to be? She says she has several receipts of DMs she has gotten from other women about him, about, I guess, getting herself checked out because obviously maybe they have slept with him. And I'm so like, so you... You got receipts. He does not provide you with the security that you need. He won't, really bring you into the fold of being a part of his family, but yet you still are fighting to be in a relationship with this man. Okay, y'all. And that is how the episode basically goes off. So next week, we see that everyone goes on dates except for Shay and Alfonso, who will actually have a sit down with Dr. Nicole. And I'm kind of curious to see how that is going to go, because I feel like Alfonso just takes everything as a joke. Like Shay's feelings to him are a complete joke. And if she does not see that as a major red flag and a character flaw in him, just be ready to deal with this for the rest of your life and stop complaining about it, or complain about it and walk away. Like, you got to do one or the other. You can't have both. And again, I don't understand why any of these women on this show want to actually have any of these men to put a ring on it, because ain't none of them worth SHI in the y'all know. All right, please drop down in the comments below and let's chat about this episode. Let me know your thoughts and how you're feeling about the couples and the dates thus far, and I'll catch you next week. Peace.